You're wondering why you're being attacked, why your words have no weight. Listen carefully. Your pursuit of pleasantness has made you invisible. You've been lied to, saying that kindness attracts respect. Look around, at work, in your family, in your social life. Your refusal to set boundaries has turned you into a victim. But today, I'll reveal to you what has been hidden from you since birth. The rules of Machiavelli for domination without violence. The principles are forbidden in books on personal growth because they work. If you want to stop being a shadow, write, "I'm ready, right now," is not a choice, it's a question of survival. Imagine Florence in 1502. Civil wars, betrayal, blood on the streets. In this chaos, one man watches. Niccolo Machiavelli is a disappointed diplomat who sees smiling princes get their throats cut and terrible rulers reign for 30 years. His book, The Sovereign, is a guide to political realism, written for those who refuse to be victims. He was demonized for 500 years because he told the truth. Power is not obtained through prayers, but through calculated authority. Today, replace duchies with offices, poisons with rumors. The rules remain the same. It's your life, the modern court of the Medici. Act accordingly. The first rule that you must learn is demonstrate calm strength. Power is not justified, it is asserted. Those who dominate you do not shout, do not explain, they do not seek approval. They assert their presence without noise as a matter of course, and it is this lack of visible effort that makes their authority indisputable. You may have thought that you need to speak loudly, convince, and argue in order to be respected. But the more you explain, the more you lose. Because in the human subconscious, the one who makes excuses seems weak, and the one who remains calm seems to have already won. This is an ancient but still valid law. Real power does not make noise. Machiavelli said that the appearance of strength is often better than strength itself. What you show the world determines what it will dare to do to you. If you give the image of an internally stable, calm person capable of resisting without making noise, you become a mystery. And the mystery is not provoked, it is bypassed, it is respected. Why do you think that some people should never raise their voices to silence the whole room? Because they possess this calm strength. Their posture, their gaze, even their silence speak, "I'm not afraid. You can't reach me." If you want to be respected without cruelty, start embodying this calm power. Don't fuss anymore. Don't respond instantly. Don't chase after those who avoid you. Slow down. Breathe. Watch. The calmer you are in the chaos, the more superior you seem to be above this chaos. And that's when you become untouchable. Because in a world where everything is bustling, the one who remains motionless becomes the center. You don't need to hit. You don't even need to raise. It is enough to say that you are fully present, and your presence says that your mouth should not formulate. You are not afraid of anything or anyone. The second rule that you must understand is hit once, but hit hard. Constant mercy weakens your authority. You were taught to be patient, to endure everything, to believe that eternal forgiveness makes your soul bigger. But in reality, this patience is often perceived as a weakness that can be exploited. It's not about becoming violent or evil. It's about understanding that someone who never sets boundaries becomes a doormat for those who have no remorse. Machiavelli said that it is better to be afraid than loved if you cannot be both, and this fear is established precisely when you know how to punish once with firmness and clarity.
If you suffer insults without reacting, if you forgive everything all the time, you create the impression in the other person that everything is possible for him. And as soon as this idea takes root, nothing will stop him. Respect collapses, the word loses weight, the apology becomes a habit, and your kindness is an opportunity. But strike once, only once, when necessary. Strike when the line you've drawn is crossed, and do it without anger, without hatred. Do it because it has to stop. One correct, calm, but decisive reaction is worth 1,000 words. It leaves a mark in your memory. It signals that you are not a neutral territory, that there are borders, and those who cross them must pay the price. It is this combination of gentleness and hardness that creates real respect. And this respect, unlike the naked fear, does not collapse. You don't need to explain your act. You just need to make it indisputable. And most important, you don't hit often, but when you do, no one forgets. This is the power of the right punch. The third rule that you must learn is never say everything you think. Secrecy is a weapon of dominance. You talk too much. You explain. You clarify. You think that transparency creates trust. But what you didn't understand is that the more you open up, the more they know how to reach you. The more you talk about how you feel, what you want, what you fear, the more predictable you become. And what is predictable is never impressive. Machiavelli would not tell you to lie. He would tell you to control, restrain, dose what you reveal, because everything you show becomes a weapon against you. Silence, ambiguity, economy of words are forms of control. That someone who doesn't talk much forces others to interpret. And interpretation creates discomfort. Discomfort creates caution. And caution in front of you becomes respect. It's not an arrogant pose. It's internal discipline. It is a conscious choice not to be naked in front of just anyone, not to give your plan to those who could use it against you. The greatest strategists never reveal their cards. They act in a fog, not because they are weak, but because they know that power often lies in what remains an unspoken expression that leaves doubts, in a look that does not confirm and does not refute, in this gray area where others project their fears, fantasies, limitations. If you want to be respected, stop exposing yourself. Control your language. Let the secret work for you. What you don't say inspires more caution than what you shout, because in silence a legend is born. The fourth rule that you must understand is to be respected before you are loved. Attachment does not protect. Fear, yes. You want to be loved. You think that love protects, that if people appreciate you, they will not harm you. But look around, who betrays? Who manipulates? Who takes advantage of those who say they love you? Because love without respect becomes a weakness, and Machiavelli saw this weakness well. He wrote that a ruler should strive to be afraid, not loved, because love depends on the other, whereas fear depends on you. When you strive to be loved, you compromise. You say yes when you think no. You forgive when you have to set boundaries. You accept when you have to leave. And in an effort to preserve peace, you sacrifice your authority. You think you're avoiding conflict, but in fact, you harbor contempt, because the love that is given to someone who demands nothing gradually turns into indifference, then into contempt, and finally into oblivion. Respect does not depend on your mood. It is based on a stable perception that you do not tolerate disrespect, that you know how to say stop, that you are not afraid of not being liked. This respect is not always liked, but it lasts, and sometimes it gives rise to a deeper love that comes not from kindness, but from admiration. Don't try to please anyone anymore. Be direct, clear, fair, and if you have to choose, always choose respect, because someone who loves you today can betray you tomorrow, but someone who respects you will be afraid even in silence. and that dosed fear protects you better than all the beautiful speeches. The fifth rule that you must apply is to make yourself rare even among those whom you lead. Constant presence weakens the image, and distance creates an impact. The more visible you are, the more people get used to you. The more accessible you are, the more your value is devalued. Something that is rare intrigues. Something that is everywhere bores. And yet you still think that in order to be respected, you need to be accessible everywhere, always ready for an answer. You think that your constant presence strengthens your connection with others, but in fact, it's just the opposite. An excess of presence kills mystery, and without mystery, no admiration, no caution, no lasting respect. Machiavelli knew this. He watched the princes who rarely showed themselves but acted strongly. Their absence provoked imagination. Their silence